He had no idea how quickly a perfect world could be shattered into a million pieces. The day the world ended began like any other. The sun rose, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, but then, a different color appeared on the horizon. It was a dark, ugly smudge of black smoke. An alarm bell began to clang, a frantic, desperate sound that Dante had never heard before. It wasn't the cheerful bell that called people to festivals. This was a sound of pure terror. Soldiers shouted, people screamed, and the smell of fire began to choke the clean morning air. A brutal warlord named Cain, a man whose heart was as black as the armor he wore, had brought his army to the gates of the Ivory Kingdom. They were a storm of steel and fury, and they had come to destroy everything. Dante was rushed into the throne room by the royal guard. His parents stood there, not with fear in their eyes but with a grim determination. King Theron wore his battle armor, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. Queen Alara held her head high, her usual gentle face now a mask of fierce resolve. They looked at Dante, and in that moment, he saw the true weight of the crown. They weren't just his parents, they were the shield of their people. They told him he had to run, he had to survive. As long as he lived, Eldoria lived. He protested, wanting to stay and fight, but his father's command was absolute. A king's first duty is to his people's future, and you, my son, are that future, he said, his voice heavy with a love that broke Dante's heart. The castle shook as Cain's war machine smashed against the ivory walls. The beautiful towers began to crumble. Through a high window, Dante saw the horror unfold. Cain's soldiers were merciless, cutting down anyone who stood in their way. The green fields were being trampled under the boots of the invading army, and the clear rivers were beginning to run red. It was a nightmare brought to life. A loyal guard grabbed Dante's arm and pulled him toward a secret passage hidden behind a tapestry. The last thing Dante ever saw of his parents was them turning to face the throne room doors as they burst open, ready to make their final stand for the kingdom they loved. Dante ran. He stumbled through the dark, narrow passage, the sounds of battle fading behind him, replaced by the sound of his own ragged breaths and the thunder of his own heart. Every step took him further from his home, from his life, from everything he had ever known. When he finally emerged from the tunnel, far beyond the castle walls, he looked back. The Ivory Kingdom was engulfed in flames. The proud white towers were now blackened, broken teeth against a smoke-filled sky. He was alone. The sun-kissed prince was gone, burned away in the fire. In his place was just a boy, lost and broken, with nothing left but the ghosts of a memory and the cold, bitter taste of ash. Days turned into weeks.